my largest and arguably my most epic build yet here on the channel, along with introducing you to my new family member. That's this week on Tabletop WitchCRAFT. Hey there, and welcome back to Tabletop WitchCRAFT. The past few months, I've been working really hard at the most epic build yet here on the channel, this diorama that shows my airship being attacked by two massive dragons, as well as getting accustomed to puppy life. I want everybody here to meet Dutch. He's my 9-week-old German short-hair pointer. He's amazing, and he doesn't sleep much. So working on about 3-4 hours of sleep a night on the diorama has been an epic challenge all by itself as well, but nonetheless, here it is. So this week's video is going to be a little bit different than the ones I do in the past, where it's not so much going to be a video on step-by-step how to make the diorama, as it is little key things that I found along the way that I had to look up some information myself. Great example is some of the lights got really hot in the diorama, what glue to use for that. So there'll be really cool little tidbits of information throughout this video. So to make this video possible, I had to reach out to some friends of mine. The first one being Sam Lenz. He did an absolutely amazing job, if you remember, painting the mast to my airship about a year ago. And now he is painting the fire and ice dragon for me. They came out really awesome, and he has a little step-by-step tutorial on how he did that. There'll be a link in the description below to his YouTube channel, Sam Lenz Artwork. Make sure to go check that out after this video. Now, I also had to reach out to David from Terraintronics. Without him, none of the lighting in this video would be possible. He's an absolute genius when it comes to that. Terraintronics, go to his YouTube channel as well. Check that out. Finally, make sure to go and subscribe to Wyrmwood Gamings' YouTube channel, where you're going to get to see this entire diorama displayed in their new modular gaming table in their new media room in their shop down in Taunton, Massachusetts. I'm going to drive this entire diorama down to them, and it will be displayed in an upcoming Worm Life episode. If you want to help support the channel real quick, go to Patreon, visit me over there, support the channel there. It really helps fund the channel. I appreciate it. As well as visiting Firelight Fables Candle Company, TWC10 at checkout, gets you 10% off your entire order. Small kickback comes to fund the channel. All right, if you're ready, let's go grab some supplies and let's get crafting. All right, so the first thing I had to do in preparation for this diorama was to get rid of my old gaming table, which was this sheet of plywood that I painted up for some gaming back in the day. I had covered up with the black sheet, and that's what I used for a table. Now that I've got this table from Wyrmwood Gaming, it's going to allow me to really space out the area that I need for the diorama. Now all these boxes showed up all at once on my front steps. I had a couple of my buddies and some guys from my gaming group came over, helped me put it together. It took us about an hour. It wasn't hard at all. A lot of screws. It's very sturdy. And yeah, once this was put together, I was all set and ready to start kind of mapping out where all the pieces were going to go for the diorama. Alright, so I decided to do a little mid-video chat. My heart's racing right now. Really nervous. I'm about to drill a 1/4-inch hole into a fully completed painted dragon by Sam Lenz for this diorama. I am petrified. I know that the core of this dragon is hollow, so I don't have to go through too thick of resin, but I'm really nervous about shattering this thing. Also, if I don't drill the hole in straight, the dragon's gonna look kind of funky and weird. He can either be blasting his fireball at an angle that's weird left or right, or even worse, up and down, and it won't hit the hull of the ship where I want it to. A lot can go wrong here, so wish me luck. I can put face mask on, drilling resin, want to have something good covering your face. Here we go. Okay, there it is. At least I didn't shatter it, and the theme of this diorama is going to come to life still one way or another. Alright, let's keep moving. So I was most worried about the flight peg for the red dragon, not so much the blue one. Not really sure why, other than the fact that the blue one is getting mounted to this mountain that I've done a video on previously on the channel. This is going to become the base for this dragon. It's never going to come off of this mountain. It's a great way, I think, to commemorate this collaboration and to show off Sam's artwork with painting this thing up. So here's the ice dragon, and when I came across this miniature, I thought it would be perfect because it's actually already wrapping around something, and the top of my mountain with this little hook and claw are going to fit perfect, just like that. Like he just landed and he's blasting some ice onto the ship. So now what I need to do is drill a hole into the mountain here for his hand. And I'm on the fence about just gluing his feet on, or now that I've done it, drilling another acrylic rod into the side of his chest and one into the mountain to really secure it in place so that I don't have to worry about it falling or getting knocked off. So let's see how this works out. Alright, now this little Proxxon table saw is not something I use all the time, but it is absolutely awesome to have it when I need it. It cut right through this acrylic rod with no problem. I was then able to drill a hole much easier than the fire dragon in this ice dragon, and then we took a little bit of this Gorilla 5-minute epoxy, put it in the cavity on the dragon, and put the flight peg in there, and it secured him real nice to the mountain. Alright, now as I've done in the past, we just lightly glaze this fencing for the clouds with some hot glue. I have the setting set on low temperature so that it cures really quick. Pressing that polyfill on there, it sticks really nice. And you can see I've drilled a hole in the top of that flight peg. That's a 1/2-inch flight peg. I'm then going to insert a 1/4-inch flight peg into that, or acrylic rod, and I need to cover that joint up. So I've taken some electrical wire and shaped it the way I want for a cloud, and that's going to hide that connection. Airbrush it up to look like a cloud, and it's just going to add another layer, really to the whole diorama. While I had the airbrush out, I took a bunch of extra cotton or polyfill and just airbrushed it black, some gray, and I'm going to use that as fill to cover the entire table wherever I don't have the airship or the mountains. Alright, so this is where Terraintronics really came into play. David really hooked me up and programmed the lighting for all of what you're about to see here for the dragon's breath, for the lightning on the table, and this is me just kind of hanging out with him, and he's kind of talking me through the soldering process, getting things wired up, and having this look really awesome. This is really what I also do at night. If you want to join me over on Discord, joining any tiers there, you can sit here live with me at night while I'm crafting. Alright, now just take a little bit of time soldering up all these little boards and wires and getting the programming just right. Took a little bit of tuning. Here you can see me talking with David while he's writing the programming in the background on the computer, trying to get these LEDs to light up in the proper sequence and color. It was a lot of fun, definitely a learning experience for me. Alright, now we're going to work on the cage for the fire breath. We're going to make two of these, a longer one and a shorter one. My biggest concern here was making sure that none of the electronics that I had just put together were going to touch the metal cage on the inside and cause a short. So I basically coated any areas that those boards were going to touch with hot glue, or made a paper cup to encase those in. That piece of pink foam there in the middle obviously is just to hold the fire flame effect in place, and this cork is what I'm going to mount my star LEDs to, which get really hot. I took a temp gun to them and they were around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so I ended up using some E6000 glue to kind of hold them in place. Now here's where we're going to work on our fire effect. These are just cotton balls that I rolled out and then shredded apart. You can see they're actually giving me direction of the flame, right? So I can lay those on the cage in one consistent direction, and it's going to look like the flame is moving away from the dragon. Alright, now here you can see the 4 star LEDs connected to this little purple board that's going to make those flicker. Then all that's going to be connected to the Canaveron board and a WeMOS D1 Mini. All that to a USB power bank, and then as well as this LED strip that's going to be the main part of the fire effect that we still need to program. So before we get to do that, I have to cover this entire cage in these LEDs, and I literally had to count the LEDs up and down this cone. That way we could program each LED individually. I know it sounds like a lot, it kind of is, but it was definitely worth it. Now this was something where I had to do a little research. I needed some glue that would hold these on and could withstand the heat of these star LEDs, which again, get hot. So I made this little clear plastic cone and cage over the front so that when I put my cotton on there, I wouldn't accidentally have some type of issue where they could catch fire. I probably wouldn't, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Then I can start layering on the cotton. I tried not to get the hot glue on the LEDs. It's not that big of a deal, but once the whole thing was covered up, you can see what we're working with here. A second layer of cotton over the whole thing, and you won't see those individual LEDs, so it came out really nice. Again, back to the Proxxon table saw to make my cuts for the flight pegs, and I base coated this whole thing in a yellow, then put my second layer of cotton over that. For the blue fire effect, I base coated that whole thing in a light blue, and then I just worked my way up to darker and darker blues. For this one, I'm going to end up going with an orange over as much of the white as possible, and then I used a little bit of black in that orange paint to add a little bit of a char to the flame. Again, I did the same for the blue flame effect as well. Now I have to take the blue flame effect one step further. Using this UV resin and my icicle method, I'm going to paint some UV resin onto this blue cotton, and it's going to make it look really icy and cold. This finally is it. I'm so happy to finally have this diorama together. Let's take these flames, put them on the table, and see what they look like with this whole thing ready to go.
Captain Valent swiftly steers the Serapis through the floating aisles, skillfully avoiding the frozen masses which would send the ship plummeting into the abyss below. It is then you notice a plume of clouds move unnaturally and hear the wings of the beast you hunt.
All hands on deck! Deploy the repeater cannons! Make ready the portside air burst cannon! Battle stations!
The crew scrambles, hastily following the captain's orders, when a strong gust rocks the ship. The clouds part suddenly as a massive crimson red dragon rises above the ship with both hubris and rage in its eyes. Captain Valent calls for his crew to stand fast. The ship is battered again from below.
Fire the cannons!
As the tide of battle begins to turn in the crew's favor, a second hulking monstrosity rises through the veil of clouds and makes purchase atop a twisted mountain peak. This time, hewn in blue and with an icy fervor in its eyes.
Deploy portside cannons! Fire at will!
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. It's been a long time coming. A lot of work went into it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. as well as say hi to Dutch. I promise you, if you leave a comment for him, I will read every comment to him, and I'm sure he's going to love to hear them. Now, coming up on the channel, we're going to have some fun, quick and easy builds, some things that you can really crank out and put on your table in just a few sessions. I'm really looking forward to some easier stuff here in the near future. All right, if you're enjoying the content, please make sure to like and subscribe. Visit me over on Patreon. And until next time, we'll see you around. Say bye.